Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Today we're covering the long-awaited third My Hero Academia movie,
World Heroes Mission! Yes, finally! And it's taking place right before the villain arc and the war arc. All the heroes from around the world must come together to stop the villain Flect Turn, not Flect Turn, from wiping out all quirk users. At the same time, Deku's on the run after being framed for a crime, and he must help the heroes and Rhodey without being seen.
Not that yet. And before we start with that, be sure to like, subscribe, notification buttons on future podcasts, and we'll pause videos.
Yes.
No.
One name, we gotta say it before we even start. One name was the star of this movie. Unbelievably so, because we love all the other voice actors, but one name stood out above all others. One character just stole the movie, and that's the character Rhodey Soul by Ryan Cole Levy. He stole the movie. He took it away from our other heroes, and he's just so precious and lovable, and we want him to be a part of UA and to be part of everything that happens from now on.
Right. And it's ironic because even long before you even saw the information about the movie, you got like the first trailer, and instantly that's what people got hooked onto without even knowing the plot yet. You had some artwork, like they were showing the characters that were going to be in it, from the heroes, the villain, and Rhodey, and they just had the concept art. That's about it. Then you had the trailer, and all everyone would talk about was Rhodey. They wanted to see who Rhodey was. Some started crushing on him. It's like, and someone said he doesn't have any lines, and you don't know who the heck he is yet. How are you already in love with him?
And we were excited to see the movie, not only because we love My Hero Academia, but also so we could see, you know, the storyline as well as to meet Rhodey.
Yes.
And he was nothing like we expected. He was so much better. And for us, this movie was spectacular. It was wonderful. And we know there are some that didn't get what they expected, and that's true. This movie is not at all what we expected to get, but what we got was outstanding.
Yes.
And no disappointment here whatsoever. So for those who wanted to be something else that it didn't turn out to be, I do like that Horikoshi, each movie so far has given us something different.
Yes.
To us, they're being different movies.
Right.
And yes, they have to follow some type of formula because it's Horikoshi's work. This is his brainchild, his intellectual property, and he's got a way that he wants it to unfold, and he's got to stick with that. So respecting that, absolutely love this movie.
Yes.
Can't watch it enough. We've watched it 2 days in a row so far.
Right. And I think for a lot of people, after Heroes Rising blew two heroes out of the water, I mean, they had 9, he had a backstory, you had a rising tension, he had a ton of action, and people loved that movie more than Two Heroes. They were kind of expecting that for World Heroes Mission. For a lot, it was like that. And for others, it didn't feel like that because you didn't get a lot of screen time with the villain, which you really weren't supposed to. He was really meant to be this greater threat, but he wasn't the final boss, so he really is supposed to have the higher stakes like some other ones are of 9. It was a totally different villain. And on one hand, I can understand wanting a little more, or wanting that because they loved Heroes Rising so much. But for here, I think it worked because you weren't so distracted by the villain, because he was just the basic wanting to get rid of quirk users or non-quirk users or something, and that was pretty much it. And I think it was more of the way he was doing it was more memorable than the thing itself, because you see it all the time. But the fact that he was actually going out and actually getting rid of these people, and it was like a mass thing going on, and it took the world's attention, that's what really stood out more than the villain's goal itself. Like, he was actually doing it. He wasn't just saying it and it was slowly building up. It was happening right then and there, and it was going to spread fast if they didn't stop it.
And I think what might have been one of the causes for the disappointment, and this is the only thing that I wish we'd seen more of, is when the movie was first announced and they showed some of the artwork. It had Bakugo, Deku, and Todoroki in combat gear, each their own individual style. And so it made it seem like that's what the movie was going to be about, and that it was going to be this high octane, high action combat, taking down the villains the entire movie. Yes, that is the impression you got that the movie would be, and it isn't. But we were never told this is all the movie would be.
Right.
We got it in the beginning, maybe all of 10 minutes. We got to see them in the outfits. I would have loved to have seen them in this throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
But we didn't get that because of the storyline. But for me, this is not enough to tear the movie down or hate MHA or decide that the movie isn't good. I just don't think it warrants that. Yes, I would have liked to see more, but hey, we got it.
Right.
It wasn't shown, and then like some movies do, you never see what's being promoted.
Right.
And you're like, well, where's the stuff that you had, what you were showing us?
Exactly.
We actually got it. Not for the entire movie, but we did get it. And again, as Vasco was saying, it was just such high energy, excitement in the beginning.
Right.
And you have these heroes all over the world being sent out to different places.
Yeah.
All the heroes were in one place this time. And I really like that as well. And as we said, it was done much better. Much, much better than Miraculous. Sorry.
Yes. And I really want to get to that quickly before we get to, the plot and what we really loved about the movie. Was that, you remember, you've seen our podcast for Miraculous Ladybug, and we also cover both of his TV specials, which they call Miraculous World, which is basically meeting heroes around the world and adding to an extended universe for Miraculous Ladybug. And we were disappointed by the New York special because it felt like they were just trying to insult Western viewers and superhero fans by saying that, oh, it's just a bunch of heroes, they don't do anything, they can't do anything unless they're a certain group or whatever, and it felt kind of off. Really so disappointed. But then we saw World Heroes Mission with the same concept, and I kept saying while we were watching that I think this is what Miraculous World wanted to be. Expanding the universe and showing all these different heroes in this world and not just limited to one country, because they had heroes from Egypt, Singapore, America, China, they were going to France, all over. They even mentioned France in there, like a sort of nod to it. And I think they saw the concept for this and thought, hey, why don't we get this out before MHA? And then it didn't go anywhere.
Because they didn't do a good job. Sorry.
Unfortunately.
We watched the movies. We hope they're going to get better. But at this point, Miraculous Ladybugs feature movies, traveling to different countries, have left a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
But we'll hope that it'll get better. We're going to give them another chance, of course.
Right.
Now, in this one, the heroes were sent out to different countries that exist.
Right.
But in the end, they ended up in an imaginary country called Ortheon.
Yeah.
And this is where Rhodey's soul lives with his brother and his sister.
Right.
I know everyone else lives there too, but I had to mention that.
Right.
So it was kind of a mixture of different places. It had a bridge that looked like the San Francisco Bridge, the Golden Gate Bridge, and then it had the streets that looked like San Francisco as well. But then you saw the stores and the storefronts, I should say, and the houses and things, and you knew, okay, this is not America. And it reminded me, I kept saying, of Big Hero 6, where he took these elements from different places around the world,
right,
and made them look like their own country. And in this one, it was called Orthia.
Right.
And this is where they ended up going, looking for the villain group.
Yes. And from there, that's when the majority of the plot starts, and where people were a little divided. Well, he's chasing Rhodey after they try to stop some jewel thieves, and they thought Rhodey was an accomplice, and you kind of thought he wasn't, and he kind of technically was, just not as severe as them. And he was chasing him, and the cases get mixed up with somebody else's. And you think, okay, he lets him off the hook and thinks he caused him problems. Well, then the police force come, and they were just trying to straight up take him and Deku out. And you didn't know why. You're thinking, like, was it that is as serious as they thought? Are they more extreme? And then you find out that Deku has been framed for taking out a bunch of people with quirks. You don't even know how it did that even happened. Still assuming UA traders behind this, because it's like, good grief, what is this person not doing to him? And Deku ends up having to be on the run because they got all of the Ortheon police, and whatever heroes that don't know Deku are after him. So it ends up being Deku
it's
and
like Thelma
Rhodey.
and Louise.
Yeah.
There's no other way to call it. It's like Thelma and Louise. They're on the run, trying not to get caught. Rhodey buys clothes so they can disguise themselves.
Yeah.
And it reminded me also, I said Thelma and Louise, but it really reminded me more when they're riding in the truck and they're going around the countryside and things. I thought of Luca.
Right.
That's what I thought of more than anything else. It was like Luca, where they had a little adventure within the movie.
Yeah.
That was calm and a beautiful backdrop.
Yeah.
And you kept having, here and there, villains turning up, somehow finding them. And when you watch the movie, you'll learn the little things that happened that gave the villains clues as to where they were.
Right.
But it reminded me of Luca with the relationship building, of them getting to know each other, with learning Rhodey's backstory.
Right.
Within the movie This Way, him learning that in his mind, heroes are not, don't care about people. And then slowly, the more he talks to Deku and the more he is around him, he's learning that this isn't true, because it's not true for Deku.
Right. It's like a way less extreme thing of what Stain thought.
And like what happened with, is it Cody?
Yes. Coda, yeah.
Coda, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're right.
Coda.
And also, you gotta mention that you don't really find out about Rhodey's quirk, and you even had one, until near the end of the film. They kind of keep it secret. You kind of thought he was quirkless like Melissa, but he ends up having one, but we won't tell you what it is.
Yes.
What we gotta tell you, though, it does have to do with his little bird, Pino.
Pino, oh my goodness. I have to say, Pino to me, I looked and I said, he has a Pokemon!
Yes!
That's what I thought, seeing Pino is Rhodey's Pokemon.
Yes.
And they're adorable pair. They are just adorable. And Christina V is the one who voiced Pino. She did a fantastic job.
Right.
She made you just love her, and Pino's so adorable.
Right. And she has a whole personality of her own. Now, she doesn't speak, because I know you probably think, oh, the talk. Well, no. It's one of those few animals that don't speak in here. And it's absolutely hilarious how she has like the different reactions with Rhodey, or these expressions, or she's saying something to somebody else. She's going, that's all that's coming out, and Mom will constantly just laugh at that. Where she's talking to Deku or somebody, and all you hear is, and she ends up not just being like the cute little animal sidekick like you would see in a Disney film. It actually does have a purpose in the movie and throughout the movie. It just adds to the fun just seeing her interact with Rhodey and Deku.
Now, I have to say, another thing that was different about this movie is in the other two movies, Deku helped to save the day with his classmates.
Yes.
And with other heroes. And in this one, they're not together the entire movie as they are in the first two. Again, he's off of Rhodey trying to get to the get to the truth and trying to save them and keep them from being taken out. And the heroes are, again, trying to keep him from being taken out.
Right. And
Bakugo and Todoroki are not happy, of course, because they know he's not guilty, except Todoroki asks him, Midoriya, what did you really do? And I'm like, you're my favorite. What the heck are you saying?
Right. It's like, don't tell the people, room full of heroes and police officers, that you're on the phone with the person they think committed a crime.
So he ends up in this movie, you have to say saving the day is no way to put it, with Rhodey and Pino, not with Bakugo, Todoroki, and any of the other UA class members. And that may be another thing that disappointed people. But for me, I loved it because, again, Horikoshi gives us another facet of Deku. You're seeing him, not only being working as a team with his UA classmates, but also with someone else he totally didn't know. Not prejudging, just, he saw him with the case, saw him running, knew he had taken it, but he didn't judge him. Right. He didn't come to a conclusion about him. And then when he was in trouble, he did what a hero does and saved him. Right. So I think what really was great about having this off-road trip, that's what I'll call it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Is that we get to learn more about Rhodey. And we get to learn more about Deku. And we already know that he's fantastic, but you get to see that he's not just a mouthpiece where he says things and the character really doesn't have that image truly, he does. And he's like, isn't that what heroes do? Of course I'm going to save you. Of course I'm going to do this. And we got to do this, we got to do that. And Rhodey at first kind of acts like he doesn't believe he's worth it because of all the things that have happened to him. So you get to see character development for him as well, where he comes to realize he's important. His quirk is awesome. He is not defined by what has happened to him or what other people say about him.
Right.
And he kept saying it's over for him and that he doesn't have a chance. And you didn't like hearing it when you heard it, and you were like, what happened? What happened to you for you to feel this way? And then we finally get to see piece by piece.
Right.
And it is a pretty bad experience that he and his brother and sister have had.
Yeah.
We won't spoil it for you if you haven't seen it, but we're really, really happy that he ends up having a happy ending in this movie.
Right.
This character deserves it. And again, the way Horikoshi wrote this character and the way that Ryan Colt Levy portrayed him, you absolutely adore him.
Yes.
And you want him to be happy, and you want him to succeed. You want he and his brother and sister to live happily ever after. It's what you want. You can't help but want anything else but that.
Right.
And I love that Deku was part of the solution and the catalyst for it going that way, because you know he's a true hero.
Right.
And he did it not in a grandiose way where everyone could see it, where it was on camera, bragging about what he did, getting pats on the back and all of that. He did it quietly between the two of them where no one could see it.
Right.
And that speaks volumes as far as his character.
Right. It's sort of like when they have those stories, it's like, oh, this is the hero you never knew about or something like that. And one of the little running gags they had in there when it got towards the end of the film, after Bakugo and Todoroki catch up to them because they were trying to, find them before the villains do, and it became like a really high stakes scene. They had some really terrific animation in here with tracking shots and a 360 shot in here. And there's this one little thing they have in here where they all know who Rhodey is. They just kind of meet him right on the spot after the villain fight. And Bakugo's just angry at Rhodey the whole time of the movie. He don't want to talk to him or look at him or anything. It's like, what is your problem?
He's like a 5-year-old. That's my friend. That's my friend. He's my friend. He and Todoroki had his attitude like, we're supposed to help him save the world, not you, us. Todoroki was just kind of like, how he is.
Like, whatever.
He didn't say anything, that was mean or anything, but he just had this look like,
right,
that was supposed to be us.
Right. Oh, man, it's one of the most hilarious things. The Bakugo's just looking at us like he wants to blow up Rhodey. He doesn't do anything, though, so he has a lot of development. He doesn't threaten him or yell at him or anything. He's just like, just stay out of the way, extra, you're useless here, and that's pretty much as far as it goes.
So, this movie is definitely a must-see if you're a true MHA fan. I'm going to say that. If you are a true fan of any of the voice actors, if you are a true Ryan Colt Levy fan,
right,
you really need to see this. Don't deprive yourself of the experience of just enjoying this movie, falling in love with a new character that is definitely destined to become a part of MHA. You might have to name it. He's got to become a regular part. We've had characters, Melissa in the first movie,
right,
the second movie,
with
the
the
two
twins,
kiddos, and then you have here, but I don't think, you let me know if we're wrong in the comments below, that any of the other characters had the effect that Rhodey had.
Right.
And it's a combination of brilliant writing,
right,
character design, just making a character that is relatable for a lot of people. And again, the performance of Ryan Colt Levy. He brought the character to life and just made Rhodey Rhodey.
Right.
And I can't imagine us loving this character the way we do any other voice actor doing. No offense to any other voice actor, but Rhodey is Ryan Colt Levy, and Ryan Colt Levy is Rhodey. Right.
And one more thing I also got to bring up is that a lot of people talked about, especially on Twitter, and it partially confused me until we saw it the second time. It was the fact that Rhodey said he wanted to be a pilot, but he kind of gave up on that so he could take care of his siblings. And I'm like, oh, okay. They actually do a lot of, like you said, a lot of development and writing and writing him thoroughly in just a nearly 2-hour film. And what I thought was funny is like, online, they always had him as like a Top Gun pilot, a fighter pilot, airline pilot. I'm like, okay, I guess they just said pilot and they kind of didn't know. And I kind of asked, like, was it not clear what type of pilot he was? Or they just kind of guessing the word?
And I'm like, they said Cessna, and he has a Cessna that he's playing with as a kid.
Yeah.
And I was like, how did you miss that? And you said, I don't know. Like,
yeah.
How did everyone miss that? I don't know.
Right.
But yes, these little details are just wonderful parts of the movie. So we're not going to tell too much because we don't want to ruin it for you.
We told a lot already anyway.
You need to buy it like we did. You need to purchase it and own it and make it a part of your collection. So if you've seen World Heroes Mission either in theaters or on DVD like we did, or if you streamed it, let us know in the comments below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you love Rhodey as much as we do and want him to become a part of UA? Let us know in the comments. And if you haven't seen it, you really have got to see this movie.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say, well, two actually. One is don't go comparing it to Mugen Train and JJK. They are totally different movies, totally different universes. They are each to be enjoyed for the movies that they are.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of that online where people are comparing it to those. You can't. They're a totally different genre.
Right.
Superhero.
Right.
Movie.
Right.
And the others have bases in horror.
Yes.
As well as being shonen, but they're really based in horror and a whole different concept. So
Right.
you can't compare them. And two, if you don't know who Ryan Colt Levy is, you gotta go to his Twitter channel and look at his banner, and you will see all the characters he's played in many anime.
Yes.
He's fantastic. He's in Morality the Patriot, Caruso's Basketball.
Yes.
He's been in more than that. But go there, see the anime he's been in, and then go and watch them.
Yes.
And it's possible that you've seen some of the anime he's been in, and you just didn't know him or recognize
Right.
him. But once you
Well,
hear
now.
his voice, yes, you will definitely recognize him as soon as he speaks. He has a distinct voice. It is, you'll know him immediately once you become a fan.
Right.
And as you can tell, we are.
Yes.
So, love this movie.
Yes.
And we hope you will too.
Right. And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates and weekly. Sorry, one more time, guys. If you haven't already, subscribe for updates. Subscribe for updates on weekly videos on your favorite anime shows, movies, and all things animation.
I guess we're so excited about this movie, we're tongue-tied.
Yes.
And thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate you more than you know. If you love this podcast, please feel free to share it through your community tab or however you share it with your friends and family. And if you want us to know about your channel, leave us the name in the comments below. Better yet, leave a link. We will visit and we'll be happy to support you and follow you as well.
Yes. So, thank you so much for watching. Mask Entertainment.
And Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.